Hi. Today's speech is on water conservation and the virtues of commercializing it and treating it as a commodity. So if I were to say to you, water futures, does that mean anything? Or does it simply say to you, selling water in the future? Well, if it's the latter, then you're right. In its essence, that's all it is. But for some reason, even though we're used to paying for water, I think I paid the city of Toronto $450 last year for water. And when I went to the beach the other day, I bought water bottle and I paid for that. So paying for water seems absolutely normal. However, commercializing it and trading it on the stock market as if it was just another commodity for some reason seems gross and the wrong thing to do. However, it's a little odd that this precious, vital commodity is the one thing that is not sold and bought on the stock market. And if you think about it, it's more valuable than oil. So the reason why it's not, or it hasn't been done up until very recently, is because it's one of those things in life that's free to everybody, regardless of your age, your race, your sex, your gender, your nationality. It's out there like air. But is it really? And the crux of this argument is when something is given a value, when something is given a price tag, a quantifiable price tag, human beings have the tendency of valuing it more. And up until now, that hasn't happened until very recently. A couple of years ago, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange actually started trading water futures. And it goes under the name of NASDAQ VELLES California Water Index, or NQH2O. And it's a really interesting idea because the whole point is that if we actually commercialize this, then businesses and governments will be motivated to protect it and to find new ways of finding it and providing it and formalize really neat instruments like microloans to help people dig wells and get access to clean water in their home, not 5 miles away. Turns out, some of you may or may not know this, that a mere 1 to 3.5% of the water on the planet is actually useful to us as humans. Even though the planet is 75% water, just a small amount is something that we could use. It's treated on what's called a volume weighted average, and that's how they figure out the price to buy and sell on this stock market. So when it started 2 years ago, they figured that it was $371 the acre foot of water. That's how water is measured. An acre foot is an acre of land by 1 foot of water high, which equals 325,000 gallons of water, or about 1.3 million liters, or half an Olympic swimming pool. Just to give you an example how the mercantile exchange works, imagine that they track the price of water from Monday to Friday, and they see the highest price and the lowest price, and then how many shares were sold back and forth. And then that's how they get to their average, which they call actually VWAP, VWAP. That's the acronym, which stands for Volume Weighted Average Price. So today, there are 780 million people on Earth that do not have access to clean water in their homes, which means that someone in their family has to walk approximately 5 miles back and forth to get water, carry this 45-pound or 30-kilo container when it's full of water when they're doing this. And that job usually falls on the shoulders of, obviously, the youngest in the family, who's a girl, and the girl, then her job is to do this every day. So she has no time to go to school. And her fate is basically locked in at birth because the family doesn't have clean water. This clean water initiative and commercializing on the stock exchange came to be because Matt Damon and Gary White, another gentleman, together co-founded an organization called Water.org. Today it's called Water.org. And what this did was it provided microloans in the order of $75, maybe $100, to people where they were able to actually dig a well, put the piping in, and get water in their homes. And by doing so, everybody in the family, all the children, were able to go to school and get an education and have somewhat of a fighting chance to get ahead in life. When Matt Damon's initiative started to work and affected over 40 million people on Earth, the markets started to listen. And as a result, after close to 15 years of doing that, the Mercantile Exchange in Chicago decided to issue water shares. And this, even though to some people may be a disgusting notion, to other people it's a truly innovative way to solve the issue of water scarcity on the planet. Okay, so going public has its virtues, but why? Because by being on the market, it's very clear to see the value of the thing. This is called price signaling, and companies and markets use it all the time. I'll give you an example. Tablets. Tablets were around for quite a while before the iPad came out. But it wasn't until the iPad came out at $500 and it would sell out that tablets really took off. Because up until that point, companies like Microsoft and others that were making tablets, they didn't really think that the market was willing to bear a price of $500. Take skinny jeans. Maybe you have a pair. You know, there was a time where everybody was wearing skinny jeans. Today, you can't find skinny jeans. At the time, every jean manufacturer will make skinny jeans. Today, no one is. The market dictates. But with water, if it's not formalized and clear, then it has no value. And therefore, there is no incentive to conserve it, to invest in it, to propagate it. But these microloans prove the contrary. At the very least, they prove that there is an entirely untapped market out there in all sorts of things, not just water. That if they had access to a little bit of credit for daily important things, it really adds up. And suddenly now, in countries like India, for example, there is a whole industry in microloans for digging wells to gain access to water. Because there's nothing more frustrating than knowing that all the water that you need is 40 feet below your feet. But you can't get at it. But if you had a $75 loan, you could. So I think it's very important for us to see the value in commercializing water, because as time goes on, the price will come down. When the market started, it was at $371. It peaked at $553, and it's currently at $254 the acre foot. You know what that breaks down to? That breaks down to 0.002 cents per liter. That's right, per liter. So it's not even a cent per liter. We know this because it's been formalized on the market. Let me give you a few stats, a few interesting tidbits. Did you know, for example, that you need 10 gallons of fresh water to make microchips? Or 100 gallons of water to make a personal computer? How about 1,800 gallons for a pair of jeans? And get this, 40,000 gallons of water to make a car. That's your average swimming pool. I didn't really know that we needed that much water, or maybe even any water to make cars. However, it turns out you really do need a lot. Now, at the very, very least, by going public, there's a legal framework around the buying and selling of water. And then suddenly in the future, when it gets hotter and the droughts get longer, the chances of there being corruption are lower if it's formalized and it has a legal framework surrounding it. In conclusion, this water crisis is a real challenge that's going to affect us all. It's a crisis of equity, of sustainability, and of human rights. So as we gather here today on this Saturday, at the end of September, the beginning of fall here in North America, the beginning of spring in South America, or in the southern and the global south, we really kind of have to recognize that access to clean water is not a privilege, but a fundamental right. So Matt Damon's initiative, Water.org, really serves as an inspiring example of how dedicated individuals can make a difference and how their work can transform the lives of millions and millions of people. But there's still so much more to do. So I think we have to support initiatives like this. We have to help amplify their impact and advocate for policies that prioritize clean water access for all, even here in Canada. I mean, how many First Nations have clean water issues? So the idea of trading water on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, in my opinion, is a bold and innovative approach that really warrants further exploration. While it probably isn't the ultimate solution, it most likely is a testament to human creativity and adaptability in the face of pressing challenges. I know that sounds bold, but I don't think it's an overstatement. So let's leave here today with a shared commitment to protect our most essential and invaluable asset, water. Let's work together to ensure that no young girl is burdened with the task of carrying 30, 40 pounds back and forth every day and not going to school. And in the words of Matt Damon, access to safe water at home turns poverty into possibilities, unlocking education, economic opportunity, and improved health. So let's make this a possibility and a reality for every single person on the planet. I know that there seems to be a lot of ethical issues involved with futures trading of water. And it makes sense. After all, it's essential for human life. However, by investing in it, we'll guarantee that we protect it. I mean, look, crude oil is at $100. Water, $0. The world definitely cares about crude. So here's the takeaway. Humans only value what has a price. Thank you.